Hello and welcome to GTO Coach and Go. I'm Jim Delleman with Group Travel Odyssey, and we're very happy to have you here with us today. We're going to go over a few more really fantastic features that Group Travel Odyssey offers to all of our users, and we do have time for questions as well, as always. So as we're going through this, if you do have questions, please make sure you post your questions either through your YouTube feed or over LinkedIn. Also, if you are not able to find where you can do that, you can also email those to me, and my email address is appearing on here right now. If you can't type your questions, email them to me at jim@gtonetwork.com, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. If there are some questions that we don't get to during the day, or if there are questions that we need a little more insight into before we give you an answer, we will definitely get back to you with all of that information. Also, make sure you follow us on LinkedIn at Group Travel Odyssey, and also subscribe to our YouTube, Group Travel Odyssey, once again. So today, we're very happy to have with us our lead accuracy guru. We have Sierra Jenin with us. She is in charge of our accuracy guru team, and they're basically in charge of Supplier Manager. So today we're going to be discussing a lot more about Supplier Manager. So welcome, Sierra, and why don't you tell us a little bit about what accuracy gurus do?
Thanks, Jim. We feed the system into basically anything that you are using as a tour operator. We contact suppliers and get products and pricing and contacts and profile sheets and all the information that you may need to add a trip product into a proposal. So that I literally spend all day doing research and talking to suppliers and talking to the operators to see exactly what they need, so that way we can get it into the system for use.
That's fantastic. And, you know, one of the great features that we offer with Group Travel Odyssey is we do have a hosted supplier database. So what we're doing is we're taking away that pain point, that drudgery of entering all of the supplier information. So that's something that your company no longer has to do. It's something that we will do for you, as well as finding new and fun suppliers. We also maintain all of the pricing and products and things like that as well. So once you are a user with Group Travel Odyssey, you are entitled to be using our hosted supplier database. So that is something that we find very important, and it is something that we've heard from our users saves them a lot of time. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to turn this over to Sierra and have her take us through some of the fine points and great features that our Supplier Manager app actually offers. So I will turn this over to you, Sierra.
Great. I'm going to share a screen. Perfect. Now, for all of you that have been users with us, thank you and continue to use it. You all probably heard me say a lot of this when I was training and going over supplier information with you, but it never hurts to refresh. And also we're constantly updating the system and making it bigger and better for you to use. So some of this will just be a little bit of refresh for our current users, but also I'm going to teach you some tricks when you're searching for a supplier in the Supplier Manager app instead of in sales. So I thought it would be fun if we started with a supplier that has undergone a lot of name changes, and you may not know what to search for. And I'm talking about Hornblower. Hornblower has multiple products. If you've been in the industry, which you all have for a long time, you know that they have a bunch of different names. They recently, as of just a couple months ago, undergone a name change as well. So when you're searching, you may not exactly know what to search for. So this is the page that everybody sees. And again, I'm in Supplier Manager, so I'm not in Sales Manager. This Supplier Manager is what feeds into your Sales Manager app when you're creating your proposals. So everything actually comes from here and is looked up when you're in your proposal. So if I search down here And I'm just going to type in horn and hit enter, and let's see what pulls up. I have 27 suppliers that have horn somewhere in their supplier information. Let's just dive a little bit more into that. Alcatraz City Cruises by Hornblower, American Queen. Why is that showing up? Because it's attached to the parent company, City Experiences, anchored by Hornblower. Why is Buckeye Charter Service here? Well, you can see their address has horn in it. Now, this is a really unique feature, and I really encourage to, if you can't find something and you know it's in there, search by a little bit of the name, or search by address, because it will bring up more than likely a big list that you can choose from. I'm going to click over here on this parent company. And if you're not familiar, a parent company is basically just a big company that normally has a bunch of different suppliers under it. So if you see I'm under City Experiences, which is their new name, anchored by Hornblower, and it brings up 14 different suppliers that we have attached. So again, if you were in the sales manager, you can't exactly find the cruise that you were looking for. All you would have to do, switch over to Supplier Manager, search horn, and you'll bring up Hornblower. And it might be a little bit easier for you to see what you're looking for. Let's say you knew you wanted to go to Boston, and that's the one you're looking for. There's two. So there's Boston Harbor Cruises. There's also Spirit Cruises by Hornblower Boston. So just a really simple trick for you to maybe find something a little easier that you know is in there, but for some reason, you know, it's not pulling up or it's not called what you think it might be called. So these are all the suppliers by Hornblower. If we click attachments, no attachments are found. But I'm going to show you why that is in a little later. Now, if there was a attachment that was a profile sheet or anything like that that was attached to your company, it would show up here. And again, so all of Hornblower, the Director of Tourism, Tara, here's her information, her direct phone number, her mobile number, and even her email. So again, very useful in having one contact that you can contact for all of these suppliers. I'm going to go back to our home page. And again, we can search by supplier, we can search by product, we can search by parent company. I'm going to search for Top of the Rock. When we're onboarding new tour operators, this is one of the attractions that we talk about. So again, I searched Top of the Rock and it brings up two. It's bringing up Big Cedar Lodge because the venue address has Top of the Rock in it. I'm going to look at the attraction, Top of the Rock. You can see all the basic supplier information up here. The name, the type is, the destination, the venue address, all the contact information. Also, if we knew when their annual pricing is coming out, this is a new field we've been filling in to help you better know when next year's pricing is coming out. That would be filled in here. I've got one product and admission underneath, and it is showing no prices. Now, for our current users, you probably know this is not the case. And I will tell you that there are actually 4 different prices under Top of the Rock. Top of the Rock, however, has specific prices for specific tour operators. You have to sign a contract for your particular rates. And so unless I am signed in under a certain company, I cannot look and see any of those pricings. So we've recently been focusing on and kind of talking about how our supplier database is open. We love to share information. That is what we have built Group Travel Odyssey around. We are a community. However, we do have the ability to block out prices and block out tiers. Disney is one of them. Universal is one of them that are tiered pricing for tour operators, so that you will be able to see the top of the supplier information, the basic information that you could find on the internet. but you will not be able to see anyone's pricing that we don't want you to see. Contacts, here's all your top of the rock contacts under here. And again, this is what feeds Trip Manager. So for our ops teams or for our folks that work in Trip Manager, it asks you which contact you would use. Those actually lie in our system here, and they're pulling over for your use. And attachments. I will tell you that we can see one attachment under top of the rock. It's a profile sheet labeled for the company of all tour operators. So anything that is labeled all tour operators can see. However, I will disclose that there are actually 10 different attachments under this top of the rock supplier. Again, the other 9 are company specific. And so for those of you in the companies that use top of the rock, you know that your attachments are there. You can see them. However, no one else can. And I'm showing you that here. Only all tour operators can see everything. And then anything that is labeled a company of whatever your company is, only your company can see that. So I just wanted to show you that. And I'm going to give you another visual as I go into our... I'm just searching GTO test supplier. And notice that was the only supplier that's named that, so it took me directly to the supplier. If this was in another supplier or address field, it would have brought up multiple, but if there's only one, it will take you right to the supplier. So I'm in a test supplier here. I kind of revamped it and made the destination Alaska because I love Alaska, gave it an address and some venue information. A product, again, no price found. Now, what I can do on this one, also I want to point out here, this add information found, no information's found. There actually is information in here, but it's specific to a company. On this supplier, can actually take myself out of the test user, and I'm going to now I'm signed in as myself. So I am attached to the company group Travel Odyssey. And now we can see everything up here again is visible by all tour operators. However, you notice when I was assigned to a different company, I could not see this add information. I could not see this information. But when I switched back to my own company, when I'm on my own company, which is all you all will ever be on, I can see that there is a general note in here. I can see that there's a tour director note in here. We have the option of putting a do not use on the supplier that is specific to your company. So again, if for some reason you don't want to use a certain supplier anymore, you can put that in there. It'll still be searchable in our database by other tour operators. However, your company specific one, you have that option. If I hit, let's hold on. So now if I take you down, you remember we saw one product, but we saw no pricing. I want you all to see this now. When I am under my name, I can see a price. It's a $12 group price. You know, this is just a test. We were fixing some things, but because this is assigned to the company GTO and I am signed in under company GTO, I can now see this price. But I want to just reiterate, because I want you to see it in front of your own eyes, that if I were to, if I were in a different company, I'm going to go back and now there are no prices found. So I just really want to drive home the point that, again, if things are company specific, your information here, again, you see how fast that went away. No information is here because that is company specific to GTO. Same thing with the price. It automatically went away and will not be searchable in any other app if you're signed in under that company. So I just wanted you all to see that first thing. That way you all can kind of understand how it works. I am going to take myself just back on myself again. So I can also show you attachments. Now, for some of you, this is old news because you've already been doing it. I know we definitely have some tour operators that have been utilizing this, but you do have the ability to add an attachment to a supplier. So you need to be under the supplier that you want to attach a certain attachment to. So if you have, your own pricing, or if you got a profile sheet, or if you have a menu that's specific to your company, or whatever it might be, you can go to the Supplier Manager, search the supplier, go down to attachments, and hit Add Attachment. You have to choose your name. It only gives you one. It even only gives me one option. You choose the file you'd like to attach, and you have all these different file types so that it makes it easier to sort. But I want to point out this, especially for our operations folks. You have the ability, and I know, again, some of you use this, but some of you may not even know about it, to attach a COI. Now, we all know COIs are company specific because they normally have you as additional insured. But if you choose the file type COI, another box pops in for the COI expiration date. If you fill this out, whatever the expiration date is, 08/31 sure. You can type in a note if you want to and hit save and close. Sorry, only I can see this. But I can't do this in the test atmosphere, so I had to be myself. You hit save and close. It is going to save your attachment. And you can see here, I did one earlier with a COI expiration date of 8/26/2021. Now, we have made it really easy to created a COI report for you or your operations team, whoever is tracking COIs. And I'll get to that in just a minute. So again, only the attachments that you attach, and the reason you have to choose your name is because it automatically assigns it to your company only. And that is why you have to choose your name every time you add an attachment, because it assigns it to your company automatically, and only folks from your company will be able to see those attachments. So I'm going to go ahead and put myself back in the test atmosphere so that I don't accidentally show you anybody else's information. And I'm going to show you that COI report. So again, if you're in Supplier Manager on the home page, this is what your screen looks like. We have a main supplier report. So this is just under all these search, a COI expiration date calendar, transportation list, map suppliers. If you click COI expiration date calendar, and if your company has been feeding in COIs and you have a lot there, which I know we have some companies, some tour operators that do have a lot of COIs in the system already, this is a quick calendar for your whoever follows up with COIs to show exactly when your COIs expire. So again, if I was in my name in GTO, I would see it down here, I think is the date that we put in for the COI to expire. It would show up on my calendar. So all of those COIs are trackable on a really easy calendar. We can also help create reports, that sort of thing. So if your company would like to utilize this, that report is already created. We can also walk you through some really nifty ways of how to use that. But I wanted you all to know that that is there and already usable by any tour operator that is a user of our system. I want to show you a couple. I'll just do a couple more searches to show you. I've showed you how to search for supplier and then even click on a parent company, or you could search it here. Search for products. So and if you can kind of see in the background, it says use and between your search words. So let's say, for instance, I wanted a guided tour in Charleston, but I don't know, I've never been to Charleston. I don't know who does guided tours in Charleston. I typed in guided tour and Charleston. I now have a list of 16 products, which have guided tour as the product type or in the name. So we've got Charleston Carriage Works. I have a Edmonston House, Bulldog Tours, the Charleston Museum, Charleston Pirate Tours, etc. So, and again, these are all clickable. Anything that is hyperlinked will take you directly to that supplier. So if I wanted to look at Bulldog Tours, I can do that. If I wanted to, I'm going to Branson, I'm creating a trip to Branson, and I want to look at all the different maybe entertainment there. If I type in ticket and Branson, let's see what pulls up. So I just typed in ticket and Branson, I hit search. I have 12 products that are entertainment. And these are, again, all in Branson here. You can see over here, Andy Williams Theater, a bunch of different theaters, Silver Dollar, etc. I also, though, want to show you, so I typed in ticket and Branson, right? And 12 products pulled up. Now, if I hit this main supplier report, this takes me to a list of all suppliers in our system that GTO owns that are labeled for everybody to see. We have 4,818 active suppliers. Those aren't including all the ones we had that have shut down or no longer exist. So now let's take that Branson example, and any of these fields are editable or searchable. If I type in destination Branson, now I am only seeing things that are in Branson. Now, if I can actually filter this down even more. So the supplier type, if I chose the supplier type, and again, we've got, if I was looking for a DMC in Branson, but to go back to our ticket in Branson example, you remember we searched and I think we found 12. Now look what happens. So I am looking at only things that are in Branson that are labeled entertainment, and I have 18 suppliers now that I can choose from and go through to maybe book some type of show ticket in Branson. So again, if I'm a salesperson and maybe aren't familiar with Branson or wanted something different other than what I've ever used before, I can kind of do a little bit of research in Supplier first before trying to pull it over into your proposal. And that way it's going to be really easy, because when you're in your proposal, now hey, I wanted to book Hughes Brothers. You type in Hughes Brothers, you find it very easily. So again, all of these, so I'm going to go back, just show you this one more time. I'm on the home page, this main supplier report here. Again, you can search for supplier names here. You can filter it down to just CVBs and pull up all the suppliers. So we have 197 CVBs or DMOs in our system. You can search by destination. You can filter it down by a number of different things. So I think that is really useful, especially if you're looking for something new and exciting, maybe something you've never used before. All of that is there for any member, any user of GTO. And the last thing I will show you before I take some questions, this map suppliers by destination is just another tool that we have. Not sure if anybody uses it much, but again, it might be helpful if even if you are familiar with a destination. Let's go ahead and take Orlando and look at, let's do dining. So I just typed in destination includes Orlando. The supplier type is dining. Now it'll take a little bit, but what it is actually doing, it's taking the supplier address and mapping it on maps And then you can zoom in and out once it loads the suppliers. So if you knew your group's hotel, was at a certain location, and you wanted to find the closest dining to that location that's in our system anyway, this is a cool way to be able to do that. Again, whether you use this feature or not, I don't know. But again, if you wanted to map certain things and see it on an actual map and see everything else around it, that is available for you to use. Again, in the Supplier Manager, map suppliers by destination. I do want to also say, I know that all of our users know how to do this, but if you have exhausted all of your searching and you know that a supplier is not in the system, you have searched by its name. Let's do One Long Wharf. So you notice I didn't type in anything about Boston Harbor, Hornblower, but I know that it's at One Long Wharf. It brought me right to that supplier. I have talked to some tour operators recently that couldn't find a certain supplier, but they know it's in there. They've used it before, and I said search just a little bit by the address, and they found it very quickly. So know that in Supplier Manager, you can always search by address as well, and sometimes it's easier than having to know the supplier name. All right, so you've searched by name, you've searched by a little bit of the address, you know that the supplier is not in there, you hit request new supplier. It will bring you, I can't do it in the test environment, but it will bring you to another page that just asks you for some basic supplier information. You type it in, you hit say send, that goes to my team. And we're constantly monitoring our help desk. And most of the time, especially during business hours, Monday through Friday, I and my team typically will have your new supplier basic information created, sometimes normally within 30 minutes or an hour. Now, the products and pricing underneath are a different story because we actually have to get a hold of the supplier and put it in. But we are able to put in typically a holding spot product and a blank price, telling you to put in a pricing estimate, so it will be available to use right away. So again, if you don't find something, request new supplier, and my team, especially during business hours, typically get to it very quickly. We will typically respond to a help desk request and or start it before any of our emails. That is our job. So if you're really in need of something, put it in the help desk because we do respond to those quicker than we do emails. And I believe that's about it for Supplier. There may be some questions. I'm going to stop sharing for now and see what we got going on.
So do we have any questions out there about any of the information that Sierra has given us as far as entering suppliers, requesting suppliers, searching for them? You know, one of the newer features that Sierra went over, and we briefly discussed it last week, is that notes section. And that is something that had been requested by a lot of our users, and it makes perfect sense. It gives you the opportunity to put in your own company-specific notes about any of the suppliers. And so that way, anybody who's with your company, they will see that, and they will see the notes, and they will be able to know, oh, we need to contact this person, or, oh, they need this from us. You know, it just gives you an opportunity to put more information in. So it helps you to clarify things a little bit more.
Yeah, and I want to kind of drive home that we didn't just put an overall notes section. Let me get into a supplier so I can refresh my memory. We made categories much like the attachments so that it can be even easier tracked. And also what that does for us is we are able to now, I'm just getting to my note. If you pick general note, that will be a general note seen by your whole company across all the different apps. But if you pick that this is a tour director note, so this is you're going to Hard Rock Orlando. I was a tour director for multiple years. I know that Hard Rock Orlando, they want your student groups to wait outside in a nice bundle along the side of the building. The tour director goes in, checks in, and then they normally will come get you through a side door. Now, if I have never been a tour director before, maybe you have a tour director that's never done Hard Rock or Orlando, you can put that note in there. And that's something that hasn't changed in all the years that I tour directed. And every time that you use Hard Rock Orlando, when you create the final itinerary, which great news is being developed as we speak, so that should be coming soon. But when you choose your final itinerary, and we're going to have a way to create a tour director only itinerary and pull in those tour director notes. So those note types, don't just abandon those. They are there for a specific reason so that we can then pull them into other parts of the system and other documents that you're creating for your trip, and them being specific. So we've got tour director note, we've got driver note. We'll be able to do, driver itineraries from this and any notes for a specific supplier. Accounting note, again, if you have a certain accounting note for a specific supplier, that would go in here. And then again, your do not use that I explained. So all of those types are meant for a specific purpose, and allowing us to get that information not just on a supplier screen that maybe is never seen because nobody is ever in Supplier Manager except for me all day. Then we can pull that information into the other apps for your team to see and use when appropriate. So use that information blocks for your company as you see fit, but know that those types do have a purpose.
We have a quick question here. What happens if I go to the supplier and they've decided to give me a different rate than what we have listed in our supplier database?
Great question. Hopefully it is less expensive than what we have in our system. And that's a simple, put it in the help desk, and or if it's very specific and detailed, just you can send an email. We will put your pricing in. We will label it as your company only. And just as I showed you under top of the rock, no one else will be able to see it. And again, just as I showed you under the GTO test supplier, no one else will be able to see it except for your company. Now, if it comes back that it is more expensive, then I keep in writing my team, and how I know there are tons of attachments under every supplier that you all cannot see. We keep records of all of our emails with supplier information. And we ask I feel bad when I contact suppliers because I ask so many detailed questions for you all and to make sure that we get it right. And so when I'm communicating with a supplier, I make sure that they give me an expiration date for those prices. And again, we typically always try to have that in writing, and I can pull an attachment if needed. If you need to go to the supplier and say, hey, you gave this all tour operator rate valid through December 31st of 2021. It is before that date. Here's the information that Group Travel Odyssey has, and we'll negotiate that lower rate. And so again, all of the prices that are labeled all tour operators, we do have information to back that pricing up and can help you if the pricing comes back more expensive and doesn't match what we have in our system. And again, if it's lower and if it's a special rate for just your company, we'll get that inputted just for your company.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. And I mean, one of the things that we always try to point out as well, we're here to basically do a lot of this work and make sure that all of this is accurate. That's why we have a team of accuracy gurus to go in and make sure that all of this pricing is exactly what you need it to be. And also it doesn't replace your relationship that you have with a supplier. You can still contact these suppliers and have your discussions and and do everything that you've always done. It's just when it comes to the actual programming of this information into the system, this is what our GTO team does for you.
Yeah, I actually want to, that brought me up to something else that many of you may not know, but some of you do because I've emailed you directly about it. I and my team, basically just the admins of GTO, can see the links to proposals that a product and a price is used in. And if the supplier changes their price and you have it already in a proposal, I contact you directly. And I've had to do that recently. We sent out in our GTO announcement a couple of weeks ago that Ripley's in the Smokies updated their educational rates, and they went up by quite a lot of money, effective starting September 1st, 2021. Now, when I talked to them in 2020, I pulled my emails. They gave me that the pricing was valid through December 31st of 2021, which is what we had in our system. However, they decided in the middle of the year they needed to change it. And we had used that pricing that they gave us in 5 different proposals for travel in 2021, and some to forecast for 2022. So what I did was I contacted every salesperson that proposal was in directly and told them, hey, I know we have this in here, the supplier upped their price, but if you book by August 31st, they will honor those rates. And then I contacted some of the operations folks and also explained that. So here's your reminder for my ops people. You have to book by August 31st to get those lower rates for Ripley's. I actually emailed some of you this morning about it. So they sent out a big announcement again, reminding today. So again, that's another feature in GTO that you probably don't even realize that that's there. A little bit of backup, not just from your company, but our team in if those prices change and you're actively using them, we will notify you and or try to negotiate with the supplier to book that lower rate because we have it in writing.
And that's another nice feature as well. Like you said, it will tell you how many proposals that pricing or that product has been used in. And that gives a little bit of leverage too if you have to go back to the supplier. Because you can go back to the supplier and say, well, you've got 27 future groups that are already been proposed for that old price. Is there any way? So it gives us more leverage. It gives us more negotiating room because it's for all of our users. It's not just for one specific company. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I can tell you another supplier that changed pricing recently was used by 3 different tour operators in different proposals. And I contacted each one of those salespeople directly from all 3 tour operator companies.
Wow. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So that should tell you a little bit more about what our accuracy gurus are doing all the time. It's not just a matter of maintaining and putting that information in, but whenever this new pricing, whenever this information comes out, if it requires a phone call to our users, that happens. We want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information, and if it's going to directly affect a group that you have already a proposal out to, we want to make sure that you have that information as soon as possible as well.
Yeah, and we hand put in pretty much everything. There are some things that we can upload, but because our title, and we take this very seriously, is accuracy guru, and we're creating this community and this shared supplier database that affects so many operators now, and suppliers for that matter. We actually hand put in every supplier information and product and price. Especially the way our system is designed, it's not easy to just upload all of that information and expect it to be right and accurate and also work right in the rest of the system. We have very specific product types, and that based on the product type gives your ops team their tasks. We have certain things we have to choose for it to come up in your dining inclusions for you. You may not know how that happens or why that happens, but it all really comes from the supplier manager and my team inputting in all of that. But what that also allows us to do is double check if something's not right. If the price changed, we can look at that and see that, oh my gosh, it was already used in 4 proposals. Let's get that going. So again, none of this is computer generated. It is, boots on the ground, eyes on the screen, folks checking this, double checking it. I feel like Santa Claus sometimes, because I'll get an email, I'm like, is this right? I know I put this in, but is it the same email? Is it the same pricing, or did it change, kind of thing?
Wow. That's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work for you and your team. But I mean, it's definitely worth it, because again, having the pricing, since we are maintaining all of this supplier data, it's hugely important. It's of utmost important that it is accurate and that it is up to date. So I mean, that's kudos to you and the team for maintaining all of that and continually inputting new information too. I mean, that's great. As we have our users requesting through the system new suppliers, I mean, it's a never-ending job. I mean, there are always new suppliers out there. There are always new dining establishments and attractions and stuff that are opening up, and so we want to make sure that those are all added in for everybody to be able to use as well. So, hey, I have a question for you. So we recently added in the ability to put trade show notes and stuff like that into the supplier database. How do you and your team glean information out of the notes and stuff that are put in there?
Sure. We designed that very specifically. And when you make a new appointment, when you make a new trade show appointment, you have to put in your appointment date, your appointment time, and then you have to select a supplier. So I can actually just show you. Let me get into my, actually I don't. Let me share this with you. All right, are you seeing my appointment screen, Jim?
Yep.
There we go. So if I were to pick a trade show, you create the trade show first, essentially, and then you pick a trade show to link it to. You type in your appointment date and your appointment time, and then you have to search for the supplier, just like you do when you're building a proposal. So I'm going to meet with, I don't know, who do I want to meet with? Maybe I'm meeting with Carino's. I don't know. And I can automatically pick the parent company has a supplier, the parent company has a contact, which I know is Ashley because it's Diverse Concepts. But if I did not find the supplier, then if you click this No Supplier Listed box, it allows you to type in a supplier name and also to type in contact information, a contact title, email, phone number. So when you're setting up appointments, if that is already readily available, you can go ahead and put it in. Or during your appointment, you can fill in things. And so when these boxes are checked, that triggers my team to then go back and add in those new suppliers. So instead of you having to email us or put in a help desk because you met with this great supplier at CITA last week, or ABA coming up in January, those sort of things. When you click these boxes, No Supplier Listed, and or even just to correct a contact. So let's say I am meeting with 10 Pin Bowling, and Carrie and or Patsy are not who I'm meeting with. Then I can actually click that and again, type in that different information. And again, that is triggering my team to then go back and add that new contact for 10 Pin Bowling that you're actually meeting with at ABA or whatever it is. And that way you don't have to put it in the help desk. We're trying to save you time and getting the information that you're collecting into the system for your companies to use for the remainder of it. The other unique thing is the appointment notes. Again, these stay in here and are specific to your company. And so if if next year when CIDA comes around, maybe you use this for CIDA this year, next year when CIDA rolls around, you can actually come back, look at your appointments for whoever you met with this year, and maybe you want to choose some different suppliers for this year and not meet with the same suppliers. I can't show you it because it is company specific and we don't have any for the test company, but for those of you that have used this on your trade show appointment, your homepage, it will show you all of your different appointments that you have logged. And again, that's a great record for your company to go back and say, well, we met with them last year, or this salesperson met with them. Let's, do this salesperson this time, whatever that looks like. But these never go away. They don't expire. They're there for you to go back and look at your company specific notes anytime.
Fantastic. So, that's the thing, that the system is very active. So it's going to give you this great resource to be able to put your information in for your appointments and things like that. But it also gives us a great resource because then the Accuracy Guru team can go in and start putting in all the information, even probably before, it will be before you're done with your trade show. If you're putting those notes in actively as you're going through or day by day, we can go ahead and start working on that information immediately. So that way, probably by the time your flight gets home from these trade shows, a lot of that information will already be built in for you to start using.
Yeah, I can tell you that for ABA this past year, I logged all of the different appointments, and during my appointments, so the reason we have you put in your time of your appointment, not that we care what time you're meeting with them, but then it will show up on your appointment list in date order, in time order. And so you can literally just click on, at 8 a.m. you're meeting with Hard Rock Cafe, and it will bring you right to your notes section where you can type in your notes instead of having to handwrite things. Maybe you lose them, you spill coffee on it, whatever it is, but then you still have to put it into a system somewhere. Maybe even if it's your own company notes, you used to just put it in an Excel file or whatever, your database used to be, or is now. If you're not a user, come over to us. You can do that in real time instead of having it to transfer it from different places, handwriting, etc. So again, it'll show you all of your appointments in date and time order, and making it just a really easy process. I can tell you that the folks that have used this so far really, really, really liked it. We've gotten some great feedback from our test company that was using it before we made it live for everybody. And then even just this past CIDA, we've gotten some great feedback. So before the next conference, next big conference, if your team needs a little extra training on that, we'd be happy to maybe jump on a Zoom call, send some training links, whatever, to make sure that you're using it effectively for your team. Absolutely.
And that brings up another point. We do have on the help desk portal, there are a whole list of training videos and training questions that you have access to already. So as a user, you already have access to all of that information that you can go through, but don't ever hesitate to reach out to us as well if you need any training information or have any questions about how something may work. Sierra brought up a very good point. We got feedback from a lot of users on how this is working for them. And we need that feedback. We need the feedback for not only that portal and not only for Supplier Manager, but just from general use. Let us know how things are going and let us know what you would like to see or what you need. And we can go ahead and work on that. Again, we are a community. We want to make things easier for you. We want to take away the pain points of group travel planning. And the only way that we can do that is with your feedback. So this is not a static system. This is something that's going to consistently evolve, and it's going to consistently improve by what you tell us and by what you would like to see. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to us and let us know what you may want to see next.
Yeah. I know we got Jim. We got a help desk from a user today that was exactly that. She asked if there is any way that we're thinking about something for the future. It was very specific, and Corey and I, our development team, have already talked a little bit about it, and we think it may be something we can implement in the future. Not going to happen like last time while we were on this call, because it's a little more detailed. It'll take us some time to actually develop and how to do it, but it was exactly that. She was thinking this might make her user experience, better. Are we able to do this? And we're going to figure out if we can or not and how to make it happen.
That sounds fantastic. That sounds fantastic. Well, we have a few more minutes left. So this is your last chance for questions. If you do have any questions for Sierra or for myself, please go ahead and submit them right now, and we will try to get to them. If something happens that you don't get your question answered today, or you can't get through to us with your question, please, you can email any of those to me at jim@gtonetwork.com. And I will be more than happy to either answer them personally or make sure that the person who is the expert on what you're asking will get back to you as well and answer those questions. So first of all, I'd like to thank you, Sierra, for taking time out today and going through a lot of this supplier side information for our users. It's again, one of the key points of what GTO does is we host supplier database, and we wanted you to see how important it actually is to us, and that we have a whole team that Sierra's in charge of that is going through and making sure all of this information is correct, that we're building information all the time. And again, we rely on you. We rely on you to request that information and to get in touch with us and let us know exactly what it is that you need. So again, thank you so much, Sierra, for joining us today.
Thank you. I just want to also say that it's not just my team. We are a community, and I really want to thank our users that have been sending in help desk requests or forwarding me an email of a contact that has changed. I got one today that an entire supplier is permanently closed, unfortunately, and was able to close that out in our system so no one else uses it. I didn't find that out. One of our users found it out. They sent it over so we could update the system. So I just want to encourage and really drive home that this is really a community effort for us to manage this beast that we're creating for the tour operator world. And anything that you see that doesn't look right, a contact isn't there, or just anything that might not be right or that you need, throw it in the help desk, and we'll take care of that. And that will just make our system even more better for everybody.
Absolutely. And we will end with those words. So we'd like to thank you all for joining us today for our GTO Coach and Go session. Join us again next Thursday at 1 o'clock. We will be getting in touch with you with our weekly update to let you know what the topic is going to be. And again, bring your questions to us, email questions to us. If you have questions even before next Thursday, by all means, stay in touch. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a fantastic day.